This deal really died. Not in a rumor, not in a vague press release. In Diligence, Akorn agreed to sell to Fresenius in April 2017 for $34 a share in a deal valued at over $4.3 billion. Then Akorn's business dropped hard. Compliance and data integrity problems surfaced. Fresenius terminated in April 2018, and Delaware backed the buyer. That made Akorn one of the clearest public examples of a deal that did not just get noisy, it got broken under scrutiny. Part 1. This is one of the best cases to study if you want to understand how a real deal dies, because this one was signed, it looked real. And then it got weak fast. Akorn and Fresenius signed the merger agreement on April 24, 2017. The price was $34 per share in cash. Akorn's board approved it, and the deal was announced. This was supposed to be straightforward, and at the time, the story looked good enough. Akorn even said it was reaffirming its 2017 guidance based on a preliminary review of first quarter results, so this did not begin with the company already falling apart in public. Then the turn came. The Delaware court later put it in blunt language. Akorn's business performance fell off a cliff during the second quarter of 2017, right after the deal was signed. Let's pause there. That phrase matters. Because this was not a tiny wobble. This was not one rough month. This was the kind of drop that makes a buyer stop asking, when do we close, and start asking, what exactly are we buying now? The year-over-year numbers were ugly. Revenue was down 29% in Q2 2017, 29% in Q3, 34% in Q4, and 25% for the full year. Operating income was down 84%, then 89%, then 292%, then 105% for the full year. Full-year EBITDA fell 86% year over year. That alone would make any buyer nervous. But this case did not stop there. If you run a business and want to uncover hidden tax savings, use advanced tax strategies often reserved for bigger companies. Identify insurance gaps that could leave you, your family, or your business exposed, and get a clearer picture of what your company is really worth. Our pilot orientation is a smart place to start. Check the pinned comment below for the link. In the fall of 2017, Fresenius received whistleblower letters raising concerns about Akorn's regulatory compliance and data integrity. That kicked off an investigation, and that investigation found much more than a paperwork issue. The court later described Akorn's data integrity problems as serious and pervasive. It found a gap between appearance and reality. That phrase matters too, because that is where sellable stories start to die, when the presentation looks cleaner than the operating truth. By April 2018, Fresenius said the conditions to closing could not be met. On April 22, 2018, it sent notice terminating the merger agreement. Akorn sued to force Fresenius to close, so now the fight was clear. Akorn was saying, you signed, you close. Fresenius was saying, the business changed. The compliance picture is worse than represented. We have the right to walk. That is where part 1 comes to a close. Because part 2 is where we get into what each side was really fighting over, what the court believed, and why this case still matters to every founder who thinks a signed deal means safety. In part 2, we get into what the buyer may have been legitimately worried about, where Akorn lost leverage, and why this case became one of the most important deal opinions in Delaware history. Because this was not just a broken deal. It became a public lesson in what happens when performance drops, trust erodes, and the facts stop supporting the story.